I'm Joe Chili, and you can listen to me mornings on the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK Buffalo on the Rise is Keith Vona from Richmond, Vona. Keith, nice to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Thanks for being here. To begin with, maybe you can tell us what Richmond Vona is. It's a law firm, correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Richmond Vona is a personal injury law firm started by myself, my partner, John Richmond. Our 4-year anniversary will be this December, and we've just been kind of cruising along and growing rapidly and having a good time. Our primary focus is on client interaction, making sure that they have the best experience they can under the terrible circumstances in what they're going through.
And that kind of brings us to what we're talking about. We're going to focus on the Veterans One Stop Center. How did you get involved with that?
Sure. I've known about the Veterans One Stop Center since it opened. I first heard about it through the Veterans Race, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Mm-hmm. I've been running it since 2012. I'm a former Marine myself, so that race, and as we get into it and talk about it, it generates a lot of revenue for local veterans to help them with support services and stuff like that. The Veterans One Stop Center's been open for about 10 years, and by the end of this year, they'll have helped, I believe it's about 15,000 veterans locally over that period of time.
Give me an idea, and I don't want to get too personal with this, Keith, but you know, did you experience personally, were there things that you had to go through when you got back from service that some of the other veterans are going through right now?
Fortunately for me, no. The time that I went in, I was on a delayed entry before the first Gulf War back in 1991 in January. Okay. And I got a little nervous when that went down, but I was going in May and it was over in 3 weeks. So for me, I was very fortunate to not have any PTSD issues or see any of my fellow servicemen, Marines killed in action or anything like that. I'm very fortunate and I'm thankful for that. In the time that you've been working with this, you know, with the Veterans One Stop Center, what kind of issues are they dealing with, and how, it's got to be very difficult not only to deal with the issues, but to get people, veterans specifically, to admit that they have issues. Yeah, I think they specialize in that, in recognizing and encouraging veterans to seek out help. Some of the things they are excellent at and really important is suicide prevention. September Suicide Prevention Month. That's a big thing with veterans, especially who have PTSD, been in combat, things of that nature. They also provide support for financial assistance, legal assistance, employment assistance, among other things. They actually just created in July a gym, I believe it's Cohesion Studio, and it's free to veterans, lifetime membership free plus one person, and it's a place only for veterans to be able to go out, work out, mentally prepare themselves for the challenges in life, and it's connected with the center so they can get other resources while they're there.
Now you talk about some of the mental things, emotional things that veterans may be going through. What about medical issues? Does that come into something that you're working with here as well?
Yeah, I believe the One Stop Center does help veterans with medical assistance, whether it's mental or physical. I'm sure they have outlets to get veterans into the right place to seek the right treatments.
How difficult is it during Suicide Prevention Month to talk about something like this? I mean, suicide just seems to be such a topic that's verboten, you know, forbidden. You know, people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to admit it. They don't want to say that they have those kind of issues. Yeah. Is it rough, do you think, in your estimation, to pull that out of people? I
think it could be challenging. In my former life, I was a police officer as well, so I've dealt with a lot of mental health issues on the street and people who are a danger to themselves and others. But I think you got to go at it head on at the end of the day. And if you can't, maybe try to find an approach with the particular veteran or person you're talking to in a different angle to get it out of them, and just be compassionate about it and be willing to help.
How did your experience as a police officer lead you into this? Was it helpful in this? Was it, did it help? Was it a foray to kind of get into this, I guess, you know, coming from being a veteran to being a police officer, then to being an attorney, but to getting into this whole veterans episode?
Sure. I mean, the whole track of my life has all been service-oriented, as you can tell. Service to others. Still to this day, as an owner in the law firm, my service is to other people who are injured.
with respect to my involvement with the center, it started in, I think I mentioned 2012. I've been running the race. We'll talk about it, but we've been running the race every year, and we're a lead sponsor for it for the last 3 years, the #1 sponsor. It's really important. I think it's just a continuation. I'm serving my brothers and sisters in arms who are now out of the service but still need help.
And how do you get individuals to come to the one-stop center? Is it a referral? Is it something like, shows like this where we're talking about it and people are getting interest that way? How do you generate individuals to come in and get this service?
Yeah, it's a combination. It is. This show is going to be tremendous for moving this forward and making it more known to veterans who are out there. Definitely referrals. If I ever talk to veterans that are clients, or even if they're not clients and they maybe need some help, I refer them over to the center because it's just a great vehicle for them. It's a nonprofit. All the money that goes into the center goes directly towards veterans and helping them.
And this veterans race that's coming up in November, is that a major fundraising effort for this?
It is, and that's also another conduit for veterans to get acquainted with the Veteran One Stop Center because they'll be down there as well with volunteers. They're part of it. It's down at the Naval Park. It's just a tremendous event, I think. And there's a 5K, there's a 10K. You can even walk if you want to, if you're not a runner. All the money that's raised through this race, it is a big supporter of the center because outside of what it costs to run the race, every single penny goes directly to the One Stop Center for the veterans.
And the date for the race?
It's November 4th. It's pretty early in the morning. I want to say it's about 8 or 9 o'clock. That's really not that early, but 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And there's a great after party, completely free at Southern Tier. They're a great sponsor as well. There's breakfast, beers. It's great. It's just a great event.
That's great. By the time you wake up, the race is done. So you can race half asleep. I'm only kidding. Thank you very much, Keith. We really appreciate it. Keith Vona from Richmond Vona. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Richmond Vona by calling 716-300-5885 or go to richmondvona.com. For veterans information for the Veterans One Stop Center, call 716-898-0110.
Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following. Thanks for watching this edition of the Big WECK Presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigweck.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chili. Thanks for watching and listening to the Big WECK, Buffalo's oldie station.